The format of tonight's meeting is to have a guest speaker share their experience, strength and hope on how the Alcoholics Anonymous program of recovery is working in their lives for 15 to 20 minutes. Tonight we have asked Jez.
Hi, Jeremy, alcoholic.
Hi, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's good to be sober. I guess I can take myself. I'm alright with that. I can always edit out the bits I don't like or change it around or re-record it. Yeah, my sobriety date's 13th of March last year, and this is my home group, and I love this group. I had another member about 12, 15 months ago mention this group and meet me at the front, suggested to me, and I thought I'd just give it. I was pretty hesitant because I thought, a bunch of guys, no girls, real testosterone. I just thought it'd be like a footy club, really, but it's not. It's not. It's there's a really good bit of camaraderie in this room, and I've got some mates in here. I'm glad to be a part of it. When I was 17 was probably when I started drinking regularly. I just finished year 12. I had a few drinks through year 12, but yeah, I don't remember much of that actually. But once I left school, it was like, bull out of the gate. I just, I got into the bars and I loved the nightclubs, and school was over and I just felt so free and relaxed. When I specifically remember planning to listen to, for my last day at school on the way home, I was driving home in my box Cortina and I had to specifically listen to That's Freedom by John Farnham. And I remember that, I've heard that song for a while, but I remember last time I heard it on the radio, I just remember that feeling. It was awesome. I was like, right, now I can party, And look, I think I've always drunk alcoholically. I'm a binger, and I live for those nights out. It was just me, my mates. I just remember it being like, those movies where everyone's young and we're going out and drinking and partying and picking up chicks and hitting all the clubs, and it was awesome. I've just got good memories thinking of it now. Now, I couldn't stop. On those nights, I drank, and I always thought we're all on par, but that's not actually true when I remember it. I'd always drank more than the other guys, and they could sort of just taper off a lot more than me, and I'd just start and get that craving, now I know what it is, and just keep going. We'd probably hit the city and hit the clubs like, Chevron and Mansion and those sort of places that I used to love, and they'd close about 8 in the morning and just go home. But I remember going home still feeling unsatisfied, or where else can we go? Maybe we could trying to talk the guys into kicking on somewhere, but it never happened. So and that was mainly just the weekends, but at a point in time I remember I was probably 19 or 20. I was drinking, going out 6 nights a week to a nightclub and working. So I guess what I'm saying is it was more manageable back then. I did enjoy myself. Yes, when I started I couldn't stop. But I don't know, it was just part of the culture, and I didn't really think too much about it. And I loved it, and I looked forward to it. I used it as a reward, and I lived for those nights out. I love that house music so much, I decided to, get a job for the next 15 years DJing. And when that sort of took off when I was around 27, but 23, 24, I thought I've arrived. I'm now playing every weekend, doing what I love. I can get as fucked up as I want to on booze and drugs and get paid for it. Stay up as long as I want to stay up, and I've got no job during the week. I can sleep. I can just get home Monday morning and sleep all week. And I thought, this is awesome. So I did that it wasn't so bad at the start, but for the last, 12, 13 years, I got in really bad shape. I'd start Thursday or Friday afternoon, that one drink, right? And I would just drink all the way through and stay up till Monday when I got rolled out of Cuba, and then I'd just go home. And I remember on the way home just panicking about the recovery. It would take me days to recover from that. I'd be freaking out coming off the weekend, and I was living in Brunswick at the time. It was terrible. I had some really low points, and I was probably 58 to 60 kilos at the time, and I'm 77 now, so that gives you some idea. Didn't do a lot of sleeping, a lot of eating that weekend. And that went on week after week after week for those years. And I was just always under the impression that I would just grow out of it, or I could see all my normie mates, the guys the same age as me, just getting their lives together, and my life was just going to shit. It was not happening. It was stalling or going in reverse, and I wasn't seeing much of these guys anymore. And I was really starting to look in the mirror and go, mates, hang on, something's really wrong here. People are pulling me up saying, mate, you look terrible. Like what? Just pull. Like seriously, you're out of control. And I couldn't, see it at the time, but later on, eventually, I could. So here I am. I know there's a problem. AAC, it has not been planted. I'm not an alcoholic. I wouldn't even consider giving that drink up, right? Just don't take drugs, all right? Just drink's fine. And I tried that for so many years and I couldn't do it. Like the two just went hand in hand. But I remember, okay, I could probably get 3 or 4 days up at a time without a drink, barely, and then I'd be like, okay, so this weekend or for the next few days, I'm just give it a rest, just give it 3 or 4 weeks, just have a month off, and I'd be right. I'm so determined that's not going to happen. And then that feeling, right, that comes down here and just comes up it's like a beast. I don't know what it is. It just comes right up and just consumes me. And then once I lock onto that, I'm drinking. Like it doesn't matter what's happening that night, what's happening tomorrow morning, missing my flights, whatever. I'm drinking. It is on. And once I get to that point, I cross over. I can't go back. So things got pretty bad. Trips to hospital. Spiking pains in my kidney, pains in my chest. My body's just starting to scream at me, mate, I cannot do this anymore. I just really, if you keep going, I don't know what's going to happen. So, while I was going through this, I had quite a few visits to my mum's house on certain times, just in a really bad way. And she planted the idea years before I got here about AA. She said, look, maybe you just need to be one of those guys who doesn't drink. Right? And I thought, maybe you're right. I think you're right. And then 2 days later, I'm out again. But she planted the seed because my mum was in AA. Sorry, my grandma was in AA. So my mum knew quite a bit about the journey and the symptoms, and she knew enough about it to say that to me. So a couple of years ago, I came in at 38 and I went out for my birthday. This was my last binge. Sorry, not my last, my second last. I went out for my birthday. Had a massive night again, all the same shit, alcohol, drugs, benzos, just hard on all of them. And I picked up this girl and went up in a hotel room and I just lay there and I started getting that scary chest pain again and I can't do this anymore, man. I'm over it. I just lay there and thought, I don't really give a shit if I have a heart attack right now. I couldn't care less. I'm over it. I'm done with this. And then for the first time I thought, I'm not going to grow out of this. This is not going to get better. I don't have the answer. Right? I have to try something else because I'd believed for the last 10 years that if I just put that there and that there, or don't hang out with this guy, or don't drink bourbon, or do drink bourbon, or drink beer then water, then my head was just, the mania in my head was crazy. But I just believed if I just sorted a few things out, like this weekend I'll try this, but I didn't try that last weekend, it'll work one day. And this is the first time I realised I don't have the answer, I'm screwed, and I think I really got step one. And while I was in the hospital bed, while I was in the hotel bed, I remember what Mum said about AA, and I thought, that's what I'll try. I'm going to try it this week. So I got to my first meeting, which was Wednesday night St Kilda beginners, and I identified straight away. I didn't get sober from my first meeting. I've had 3 busts, but I knew I was somewhere where I had to be. I knew I was in the right place. People talking about the craving and not being able to stop, and so many days off work and fear and anxiety and all that stuff, and I definitely related. So I stuck around, and I think I got 3 months up, then I busted because I didn't do enough work. I just came in, did a few meetings, and I'm sober, this is good enough, I won't worry about that. Then I got another 8 months up, and I busted in 2 months, and now it's 15 months. Now, the reason why I think I've got a bit more time up now is because I'm working the program at the moment. I've put more into this program than I have in the past. I've realised that I can't just come in and do a few things and just do the bare minimum and stay sober. Like that, for me, that doesn't work, right? So I'm coming in. I've heard people talk about the Unity Service Recovery. And occasionally I look at that. My sponsor gets me to look at that. It looks at the Unity, how many meetings am I doing? Am I doing the coffees after? Am I doing dinner after? Am I hanging out with a few members every now and again? And the service, am I putting the chairs out? Am I, all that other stuff? And recovery, am I catching up my sponsor to do the steps? There's a lot more than that, obviously, but that stuff's really important. And I really like that analogy with the Unity Service Recovery. It's like a three-legged stool. If one of them's kind of lacking, then the stool falls over. And that's definitely my experience, has been on a few occasions. So, yeah, look, I'm pretty grateful for AA. Sobriety, I still feel it's kind of tough at times, of course. I think the tough thing is, I'm pretty edgy most of the time, and I can feel every bump, and there's no, sort of like, I used to really like that Friday night reward. I could just get through a crap week, or just, I don't know, I could string a few days together, like I said, but I just know I've got that drink on Friday, and I'm off, and that's fine. But look, that's not there anymore, which also means there's a whole heap of shit that's not happening now. So my life is heaps better because that crap doesn't happen. But, I've just got to keep going, just keep working my program, and I'm finding it a slow process. But that's a spiritual journey. I think, even even normies who go on spiritual journeys like Buddhism and meditation and all, like even their journey's slow. So I see this as a spiritual journey, and this journey's slow as well, and I think it's supposed to be that way. So I'm getting a lot out of it, so I'll keep it up. Thanks.